know, Max, since you're so loved in Boston and you're an expert all things Tom Brady, I think it's only fair I start with you. Is Tom Brady the greatest player in NFL history?
Are you seriously asking, is he the greatest player in NFL history? And by the way, Robert Kraft said by far. The answer is yes. Yes, he is.
Whoa!
Guys, it's impossible to argue. My eyeballs told me when they were on Lawrence Taylor in his prime, that's the best player I've ever seen. My eyeballs told me, like, if you were watching Walter Payton in his prime, that's the greatest offensive player I've ever seen, right? But it is impossible to argue against a quarterback who's played almost 20 years for the greatest dynasty in the history of football. And by the way, who has improved throughout his career. It's actually 18 years so far. So when I say he's been better on the back nine than on the front, he has. He's improved over the last 9 years compared to the first 9 years of his career. The importance of the position combined with what he has done, and particularly in the postseason, makes him the greatest of all time. I've attributed a lot of that to Belichick, and he deserves it. It is unlikely that the greatest of all time would not be with a great coach or one of the all-time great coaches. In Brady's case, the greatest coach. In Brady's case, I believe it's more Belichick than him this dynasty. But there's not enough evidence for anyone else to successfully argue that the answer is not Tom Brady. Or else, I would.
Go ahead, Will.
I don't know. Did somebody, did the governor of Massachusetts call? I mean, I don't understand. Mayor of Boston, did you get a threat? Are you compromised? Are you under threat here? What happened? This is not what I expected from
Well, let's put it this way.
Kellerman.
I met with the governor, but I wouldn't allow the translator to take any notes, and then I denied it later.
Real rare moment of insight and light coming from Max Kellerman here. It's not close. It's not close. He's the greatest player of all time. Molly has listed off his postseason accomplishments. He has the most Super Bowl appearances of any player. He's tied for most Super Bowl wins of any player of all time. He plays the most important position in the sport. I would even go one step further than Bob Kraft and Max Kellerman. I would say he is the greatest team sportsman of our time. So I'm going to give all apologies to the Serena Williams and Michael Phelps of the last generation. But I think between LeBron James and Tom Brady, and I think that would be the debate on transcending your sport, I think it's Tom Brady. In the end, it's about winning, and he has done something longer, the longevity, the heights of the sport, the accomplishments, 5-3 in Super Bowls. It's just unparalleled, and it doesn't even take into account neither what I've said so far, what Max has said, how difficult it is, meaning the sport is designed. The sport is designed for you not to stay on top. It's a combative, violent sport with a hard salary cap. Nothing is designed for you to do what Tom Brady and the New England Patriots have done over the past 2 decades. It's really, honestly, it can't be overstated. Not by me, not by Kraft, not by Max. It's simply astounding what Brady has done.
Well, first of all, in the interest of full disclosure, I know Mr. Kraft. We have a personal relationship. We talk quite often. I love the man. It's one of the things that we religiously disagree upon because I don't agree with any of you. And I'm going to defer to the elder statesmen of the games who actually played as opposed to Mr. Kraft, who actually owns the team that Tom Brady has shined for. Is Tom Brady in the discussion? Absolutely. His credentials speak for itself. I'm not here to dismiss those things. But I think about the impact of a Lawrence Taylor, for example, Max, a 10-time Pro Bowler, a Defensive Player of the Year, 82, 86, Defensive Rookie of the Year in 81, 132 and a half career sacks in his 13-year NFL career. I'm thinking about Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver who has ever lived, who accumulated more yards in his 30s than he did in his 20s, 1,500-plus receptions, 22,000-plus receiving yards, I'm looking at those guys. There could be a couple of others that I could throw into the discussion, but here's where I jump off the wagon for all of y'all. The guys that I brought up transcend eras. With Tom Brady, I think he's been assisted by the softening of today's NFL game, also buffered by the exceptional coaching of a Bill Belichick, who we look. Hold on. The reason I bring it up is because on too many occasions we've debated whether or not Tom Brady deserves the most credit or Belichick. On too many occasions, we've raved. We knew that Chuck Noll was great, for example, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We knew that Bill Parcells was great for the Giants. We knew that Bill Walsh was great for the San Francisco 49ers. So you have people that benefited. But when we talk about Brady, sometimes we've ignored Brady because we've considered Bill Belichick so great, such head and shoulders above the others that you could listen. Just last year we talked about Jimmy Garoppolo and how it's time to move beyond Tom Brady. I didn't say that, but some people did. The point that I'm trying to make is Bill Belichick has been that great. Tom Brady has benefited from it. It's not to take anything away from Tom Brady, but when you consider the softening of the NFL game,
I wanna address
I'm going that
those
route.
Max, before you respond, can I just ask a quick question of Stephen A.
Shoot.
to get the record? So what do you say, Stephen A.? Is Jerry Rice? Is Jerry Rice the greatest player of all time?
For me, I would go Jerry Rice. Yeah.
Okay, look, I would say this. I'm going to take these points one at a time. The era. Yeah, the era has softened and it's now favored the quarterback. You know who played in this era? Peyton Manning. Who's greater between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning? Tom Brady, clearly, because Peyton Manning choked under pressure, and Tom Brady went from just staying the same under pressure to, in recent years, getting impossibly even better under pressure. He jumped out of the Kobe Bryant, Derek Jeter level of clutch into the Michael Jordan level of clutch. Like, oh, my God, you're this good normally and even better under pressure?
Tony Dungy, Jim Caldwell, John Fox.
What's that?
Tony Dungy, Jim Caldwell, John Fox.
What about them?
Those were the coaches for Peyton Manning.
I understand, but also in football, this is the next point, the coaching. Yes, I believe Belichick is the guy. Without Belichick, Brady wouldn't have been as great. But if you have two equally bright students and one goes to community college, the other goes to Harvard, at the end of 4 years, guess who's going to be considered smarter or more accomplished? Probably the kid that went to Harvard. That's inextricably linked.
I hate when you give that example. The kid that goes to community college might hustle harder than the kid that goes to Harvard.
My bet would
make more money in the end.
My bet would be against that. But
not
the point
offended
is,
by it because you said that's your bet. That's
right.
so
The
totally
point
understandable.
is that the one exposed to more resources and better coaching winds up in a better position. That's also Brady, but you can't take that away from Brady.